All right, we're glad you're on Morning Express on this Friday, the 13th of March. This is the time we get to our hot topics, Mike.
Yes, and we're going to start off with... sorry?
You look very serious.
I was listening to you.
Unanisikiza hivi.
Okay. Start again. Start.
Welcome back. It's time for hot topics. And joining us in studio to get through some of these topics we have to cover for you this morning is Solo. The man.
Friday the 13th gives me goosebumps.
Really?
What things give you
Friday the 13th.
Oh, you believe in that stuff?
Sometimes I do.
Has anything ever happened to you?
I've seen someone, everything going wrong.
From Friday.
What happened?
It just went wrong because it was just a day like any other.
They started breaking the glasses, the phone got smashed.
I think it's because they believe in it. Joining us for the first time on Morning Express as well for Hot Topics, O'Shane, who's a blogger. Thanks for joining us, honey.
Thank you for having me.
Do you believe in Friday the 13th?
No, I don't. I think, like in his friend's case, it was self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe something is going to happen, it'll happen. But it's a cool date.
Yeah,
I like it.
It is.
It scares people.
Does it scare you, Eric?
No.
Do you even know what it means?
No.
Do you want to explain to Eric?
Well, Friday the 13th is apparently meant to be the most unlucky day of the year. So things are meant to go wrong. Apparently, you're supposed to actually not even leave the house.
Yeah.
Just
I thought it was August for Kenya, no?
No, like worldwide.
That's worldwide.
That's
Yeah.
worldwide.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
So they have in hotels, they don't have room number 13, 13th floor.
Really?
Yeah.
13 generally is meant to be an unlucky number.
My goodness, I
But
didn't know
we
that.
By
are
European
positive
standards,
people. By European standards.
Yeah.
Where did it come? What is the origin of it, though?
I don't know, but from my readings, something to do with 13 people sitting around a table when the first one get up dies, or the first one to die.
What?
Yeah, so from that, I
Ew.
think, spawned
So what if
13
you
being
don't
an
get up
unlucky
until
number.
the 14th? You all don't die?
Yeah, you're safe.
Cool.
Crisis
Okay.
averted.
So it's a good job we're not 13 of us here. So
We're how many of us? Five.
Yeah, 5.
Then 6,
Six,
7, 8, 9. 9 of us in studio.
We're cool.
So we're good.
We're cool. There's nobody else coming to the studio. We want to remain safe. But let's get into some of the subjects, topics to cover this morning, beginning with the Pulse. It's in your copy of The Standard today. As remember, I mentioned earlier, if you do not grab yourself a hard copy, you can always get it at www.standardmedia.co.ke/e-paper. But your hard copy, it's always better to grab it and enjoy those stories. So the cover story is Siren's Secrets. And you want to know what your favorite female TV presenters phobia is? Well, we talk to the women who grace our television screens every day and find out how they go about life and the little things that they do away from the glare of the cameras. Solo, what stands out for you here? We have a number. There's Muli, there's Kiguta, there's Charo.
Basically,
And others.
I think this is basically your life story, like outside the studio, and what many people would love to know about you. You know, what are your fears? What do you love doing? And I know a couple of them, and people talking about even their cycles and those stalkers. I don't even know why you're not here. Maybe you would tell us.
Actually, they called. I just have an issue
I
with
want to know,
interviews.
and I know a lot of people out there would want to know what do you love doing out there? Where do you love hanging out yourself?
Yeah, that's for me and my people.
And
That's
she may not be in the Pulse, but trust me, soon I'm going to be revealing some of these things slowly but surely.
Yeah, you know who your co-host is, right? You don't want to have a co-host. You don't want to make my co-host start revealing those kind of things.
Yeah.
Ocean, what do you find interesting on this list?
What I find interesting is the phobias.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's terrified of snakes.
Yeah.
That's cool to know. I'm seeing Sarah and Anita are also petrified of snakes,
snakes.
even just the image of a snake on TV or in a book. Yeah, so we're all human, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a question here, and I wonder what kind it is. Sex rules?
Sex rules.
Anita was asked about sex rules, and she answered, be safe. Okay, what are your sex
I think she
rules?
meant sex rules. I think she meant, Anita must have meant to use protection.
Of course, yeah.
I don't think I have sex rules, really.
Even for protection.
Well, no.
He's standing from another list of specialists.
Well,
It's good to have a list of rules.
I've not been having that bad sex. I'll have sex in matrimony.
Yeah,
so
we're
I
on the
don't
cover
have
story, page
sex
8 and 9.
I don't.
You don't.
I don't have sex.
You
Yes, I will someday. not yet.
I've never thought about it that way. Have you, Solo?
Well, sex rules?
Yeah.
Everybody has their own codes for sex.
Or like you
sex.
must do bondage.
No. No, there are people who will say never do it on the first date. There are people who will say if that happened on the first date, then it's not even worth it. And it's all right.
I think it's rather bizarre. It just the statement sounds very off. Like, what are your sex rules, honey?
I know.
My name is Eric. These are my sex rules.
Yeah.
Like, really? Wow.
No.
He or she?
I don't know about the statement being weird. I think maybe for them they just had set number of words per question and they decided sex rules instead of what are the rules you have for sex.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but it sounds weird.
I mean,
Weird.
It sounds like affirmation, like sex
It
rules.
sounds like an off. I mean, how do you ask somebody what their sex rules are? Isn't that a very personal space? And their rules may differ
it's
depending.
part-
This column to get to know what.
True, but isn't that something that you have? Isn't that a conversation you probably have with your sex partner?
No, really. I think there are some unsaid rules. It's just about your code of ethics when it comes to sexual matters.
Ethics.
Yes.
People, you're making this rather complicated.
Code of ethics in sex.
Yeah.
I know, but some
In sexual
interesting
matters.
stuff there. Meanwhile, Nollywood is back.
Yes, Nollywood is back, and we can see that it looks like the local film industry went into a slumber this year, and the result gave a dismal showing for Africa Magic. So Nollywood is back. Eric, what do you think?
Where had it gone to?
Where had it disappeared to in the first place? Eh?
I thought
guess-
I've always seen Nollywood stuff. Or did it go away with the switch?
No. Apparently, there was a dip in the Nollywood movies that had flooded the market, and apparently now they're back with a bang. With most of the stations really airing quite a lot of them. Solo, what do you think about the Nollywood movies?
Well, this was a highlight about what was going down last weekend at the Africa Music Viewers Choice Awards, and well, hosted in Nigeria, Nollywood being one of the biggest in Africa. The most surprising thing is that Nigeria won everything apart from one, which was taken by Kenya, which was the thriller movie called Veve. It won the is it Swahili something? I think that's why we won anyway, because I don't think Nigerians are already doing any movies in Swahili yet. But it was a big day for Nollywood. Although also conspicuously relevant was Kenyans and their win. We also had some of our representatives playing there. We had Pierre McKenna as well spinning in the after party. But I don't know where this one lives as Africa, and in terms of movies, in terms of where are we going? What steps are we making in terms of
where we
movie
go?
world?
Oshin, do you watch Nollywood movies? Are you a fan of?
I watch a couple, thanks to my mom. She's the fan. She's the ultimate Nollywood fan. Yes. But the thing with Nollywood movies is, for me, they're just too long. Yeah, and the storylines don't progress much until you're 3 hours in, and that's when it starts to get juicy. I like to know it's
you'd
going
have to be very
somewhere.
patient to actually watch a whole Nollywood
Patient,
movie.
dedicated, and then there's part 2 and part 3. Yeah.
So it doesn't work for you, Eric?
I find them very redundant, and if you see a different set of movie, it looks like you've seen it before, because the storyline is the same. Every movie has a watchman, a witch doctor, a rich guy, a poor guy who will
pastor.
replace the rich guy,
Right.
a pastor, and a wife who's cheating, and a snake, and the ghost crossing the road.
Contrary to what we think, Nollywood is way much bigger. The problem is what we get. What we get is rather some of the stuff that has settled on the base. Because the cream of it all, like some of the movies that featured in Africa Magic Viewers Choice Awards, are very big movies.
Are you saying those ones don't have a witch doctor? And,
No.
and
Not the kind of movies where a pasta is bottled, you see a pasta in a
Lightning
bottle,
bolts.
and the wife is carrying the pasta everywhere.
Yeah, the kind
not that kind
where
of
before you're shot, I am going to shoot you. Okay, shoot me now. Die. Oh, I'm dying.
I go kill you dead.
Kill you dead.
I think they're very repetitive, if you ask me. Too
Okay.
repetitive.
All right. Moving on to page 15. Who rules the industry? We have three key people here. We have Nonini, Jaguar, and Jua Kali. And apparently they rule the industry because they know their fans, and they always seem to hit it off with their fans when they do a performance. Solo, what do you think?
When this one Kalamagasha was, it's a very good story because it focuses on the industry, what has been going on for the longest time, and some of the artists who have been rebranding, who have been there for the longest time, they still manage to be on top of the league, and not many of them, because 10 years ago, who did we have in the industry? Who was a one-hit wonder? Who is still making it, and he's still relevant to this date? And we're focusing on a couple of them. You can see we have the likes of Jaguar, we have the likes of Jua Kali, Nonini, almost timeless artists whose songs we can always celebrate from time immemorial when they started in the industry. Up to date, they're still relevant, even if they're not actively in music. Maybe they've mentored some people who are doing very, very well. A very, very rich story.
Okay.
A very rich story.
Oshin, your comments on the artists and why they seem to always rule. Do we have others who are coming up?
We have others who are coming up, but these guys influence their sound, their styles, their aspirations. People like Nonini, timeless. He brought Kenyan music up when it was basically unheard of. It wasn't the hits you would hear on radio and all that stuff with Manzi wa Nairobi and what's it called, Jua Kali's Ruka, Rusha, that kind of stuff. And it was feel-good music.
And
it made you feel good. Yes.
Still...
And they mentor the new age right now. Like Nonini has brought up people like Lady B and P Unit, and they're doing excellent. And he's also into charity, which always keeps you relevant. Yeah.
Eric, what do you think of him?
I was going to say that I think my takeout for that would be I am more impressed by Nonini staying at the top and raising other people up, which is very commendable. I think a lot of artists die on the roadside because they are very full of themselves. It's me, myself, and I'm big, I have new songs, me. And I think it's very commendable what I mean, P Unit has blown out and become such a huge
Have they not split?
Group. Well, no, they're pursuing individual interests, but still the group is still intact.
Is it still intact? Because I thought when Fresher was launching, then the other guys didn't show.
Well, they say they want to pursue their solo projects for now, but they're still saying they're still intact as a group.
Okay. The Nairobian, let's move on to that. Number of stories there. The headline is How My Granddaughter Stole My Husband. We'll get to that. It's on page 7. But also, shocker of married men who keep male mistresses. Family crisis. So it's disturbing trend of jobless men who drive big cars because they are, quote unquote, kept toy boys for rich men. Details are on page 4. This is actually happening.
Yes, it's sad, man. I feel that we are in a generation of men that are more interested in acting rather than being. And that leads to this. I find a lot of people very pretentious in their ways. Somebody acting like they're rich, and in actual sense they're broke. And I remember discussing this last week when Stevens was saying the way people are ballers. But I think not. I think most people go out there and put up a facade. They put up a representative of who they are not, and for different reasons, to want to look important, to want to look lavish, and to want to fit in. And it causes this because, life is going to catch up with you. So what are you going to do to actually live like that? So maybe set your...
Oshin, isn't this coming from societal pressure, one would say, because there's an expectation, that you'll be married, you'll have kids, be successful, have a good, beautiful home. That's it. Outside of that, now you are not no more, you're not towing the line. Isn't that the pressure that's getting this to happen?
Well, I would assume that is some of the underlying, those are some of the underlying factors for maybe the married men who are, what do they say, MSMs, men sleeping with men. Yeah,
but they have
probably
an abbreviation.
Yes, so maybe for them they have to have secret lovers because they can't come out right and say, I'm homosexual, I like guys. You have a family, you have children, family pressure, religion. But then for these young boys who agree to be kept, I'm not saying there's anything. If somebody wants to support you, that is fine, but for the right reasons. I'm not going to be with Sophia or with you because you can buy me a car and you can do this. Where do you draw the line? If you can sell your body, something that is so intimate and so personal, to somebody else for a few shillings, what happens when you get dumped?
Yeah. And Solo, isn't it just shocking, the examples that have been given here? One of the stories at Donholm, I think it happened, to find your husband
Yes.
with a man who's your best friend. I mean,
Yes.
how do you recover from that?
And this is some of the stories that have been going, but silently nobody wants to talk about them. We've been shouting about it, but it's actually happening out there. And these are confessions by people who have actually confessed to have been kept by men of means, men of influence in society and all that. People who are even actually married. That is the most shocking thing, because some of these men are respected members of the community and the society, and then their lovers have been coming and speaking out about I've been kept by this guy because he says he doesn't get enough from the wife and he wants me, and all that. It's really disturbing. I guess it's
Yeah,
really
very,
disturbing.
very disturbing.
And also there are those, Mike, that I have found that will want certain sexual experiences that are out of the box, and so have other people that they do that with and not their wives, because then their wives are afraid they'll ask, where did you get this from, or why are you asking me to do this? So it's
Or
a
their
whole
wives are
crazy
very
thing.
conservative and really would not want to venture into those things. So I think it brings a bigger question to our society, where we're going. And remember, we were talking about cheating just not too long ago. And of course now this is now another whole level of cheating, because you can imagine wives who are at home and you're wondering, is he out with another guy? Because it's one thing if you know the secretary, you know, might be there, but now can you imagine the kind of twist you're in when the accountant is a guy, whoever is a guy, and you don't know whether it's a guy or a girl. I mean, where are we headed?
The other thing I would say about this is, I think some men are just very adventurous. Say I'm a billionaire or a millionaire and I've experienced all the chicks I would want to be with. So how about I name
I don't
this
think
guy?
that is adventure. I don't even think we should not even think of it like
But I think some people be like that, eh? Like, okay, I think Solo's dreadlocks would be quite something.
Let me ask this simply to each of you. Would you rather, if you have a girlfriend, that she cheated on you with a man or a woman? And to all of you, for you, of course, your husband with a man.
God forbid.
God forbid. What would you rather?
Yeah, it's a shame I'm the first person answering that. If my girlfriend or wife had an affair with
Let's
a
talk
woman,
about wife, yes.
wife, I'm not married yet, but if my wife would have an affair with a woman, I think it would be more forgiving for me than it would be if she had an affair with another man. I don't know why lesbianism is not a big thing for men like homosexuality is. Yeah.
Ocean is rolling her eyes.
So I wouldn't mind.
All men
Well, not that I would lead her to do it, but I'm just like, if she came and said, "Babe, I'm sorry, Jennifer grabbed me," I'd be like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for him, he'd rather
I'm not gonna
another
go
lady
sleep
than
and start
another.
burning the house. But if
Yeah.
Moses was actually, I'd be like, what? Bosses, the big bosses. And Moses,
What does he give you that I cannot give you?
yeah, you know,
Ocean?
the big Moses.
the big,
What if it was
huge
the
Moses.
smaller Moses?
That would even be
That
worse.
would even be worse. Like that small thing. That would be more annoying, you know.
The thing here meaning Moses, yeah.
It's too early.
Yeah, to get to that.
Yeah, for me, myself, I think cheating is cheating either way. Whether my husband cheated with a man or a woman, I'd be
Really?
equally traumatized.
What?
Yes, with a man, I'd be more concerned for him. Have I been living with somebody who hasn't been himself all this time?
Concerned.
Those are the concerns I would have. But other than that, I think
You
cheating
mean you
is
blanket it
cheating.
and look at it as
You-
I would
Yeah.
set the house on fire. Concern.
I know, concerned is
Concern is
so
like, hi, babe, are you
No.
okay? Like, what are you doing?
Well,
Just
maybe
gossip.
maybe how you're saying, if it was another man, you'd be more jealous than another woman. Maybe for me, another woman would be what you're saying. What is she giving you that I can't give you? What are you finding there?
But
But if
for
it's another
another
man,
man.
I'm like, okay, I'm not a man. So if that's what you like,
Yeah.
do your thing.
Solo?
do you?
Well, I wouldn't even have a problem if my girlfriend, my wife, or whatever, cheated with another woman. I wouldn't feel so challenged.
Jeez.
I'd be like, okay, maybe that's the adventure that the sex analyst is talking about.
It's only
And I can tell,
it's women,
go on
not
stray
men.
and have your fun. When they cheat with another man, of course, that's like she just said, cheating is cheating. cheat with another man, you feel like there's something you lack. You feel challenged. But with another lady, I guess I would even encourage them. I'd be like, I'd be giving them tips.
Tips.
Oh my God.
God forgive us all.
But I don't think it's really harmful. Like, it's a lady. Well, I would not encourage her, like, sort of like, okay,
It's a
go
lady.
to
Thank you very much.
I wouldn't do that. But I'm just like, what is a harm? It's a
Okay.
beautiful woman with my wife.
Let them go on an
my
adventure.
I know what you did last time.
You know, I can't,
You can even come with a list of sex rules for them. You know,
Okay, what do you think,
But
Mana?
now another man
As a man, what do you think as
can
well?
have you. for
what
lunch.
if my wife was cheating on me with another woman?
Yeah.
For me, I think first of all, I'd be shocked. I'd be devastated.
Really?
Yes, I would, because first of all, for me, I would not even look. Forget about just the sexual bit of it, but there's the dishonesty of the relationship right from the beginning, because this is just an effect. There is a part that, why is this happening? Why would that happen? And
She's drunk.
so I'd have a problem with it at all levels. I'm not sure I can say that there's one I'd prefer over the other, really. Because for me, I would look at the underlying issue, not just the sexual
I
experience.
know
but
the underlying issues would be different. For her to cheat with a woman, then that's a different underlying issue. It's first, infidelity.
No, I don't
And
think
then
so. I
there's
think
the woman
there's the
level.
aspect of probably what is she getting from whoever that she's not getting it.
But there's
Exactly. That's my point exactly. That's why I said if there's
you cannot
another man,
compare.
you feel like what didn't I do right? What didn't I?
Even
but
a
another
woman.
Even
lady,
with the woman,
you'd
that's what
like.
he said.
But you're not a woman.
Yeah, that's the
I'm not a
thing.
woman, so maybe she's,
They're
just
adventuring.
drawn into chicks with like massive breasts. I can't get massive breasts.
Okay, let's move on.
Before we move on, Sophia, what's your take? How do you get away with it just like that?
Yeah.
Get away with it. No, I was listening.
No, you have to answer.
Yes, that's the question, Sophia.
This is where you tell us what you
Of course, I mean, with another man, I'd be
Devastated.
to borrow from you. Devastated. No, it's just because then it's beyond infidelity, it's beyond cheating. It's something that no matter what I do, I cannot give him. That's the unfortunate part. For a woman, maybe you could argue you can lose some weight, or you can put on some more makeup, or you can do the hair a certain way, and maybe you can, but
Dance vigorously.
yeah, or twerk. Anyway,
still on?
yeah, I
Not to
guess.
stay on that debate for too long, but I honestly don't think any of those things would make a difference. If he's cheating on you, even if
He's
you dress
cheating.
different, I don't think that.
Yeah, that's true.
Then there are cheaters who are just cheaters.
They just cheat.
You didn't answer
Yeah,
the
just
second
cheat.
part. There was with another man and then with another woman.
So with a man, I'll be devastated, said Jibud.
And
Or
then
a
the
woman. So now if I knew from the beginning,
You give them sex.
no, I mean, nobody wants to be cheated, and I think it would be pretentious to say, oh, I'd be okay with it. It's frustrating, it's unfortunate, it's depressing. It gets you to question, what is it I, do not bring to the table that this other person does. But what's worrying is the conversation we're having the day before yesterday, which is, has cheating become the norm? Has it become mainstream? Has it become acceptable? Then nowadays you'll cheat, your partner cheats, you sit down and say, okay, you cheated, I cheated, okay, so let's move on. If you cheat, please let me know at least, so that we
Or we can cheat together.
Oh, we can cheat together. It's become so kawaii for some people. But hey, let's move on.
And speaking of which, now things even, let's say the plot thickens on page 7. Grandmother and daughter fight over 61-year-old man.
Because that guy's good game, man. Either or he's very, very rich.
The ball game has just changed all of a sudden, because this one is not even about same sex or what we're talking about. We're talking about a 27-year-old girl who grabbed the granddad. This is from the stepmother, and
Grabbed his what?
This one was a step granddaughter. Okay, the step granddaughter, which means that was not the mother, the biological mother. But then, in a surprising twist, and they made this revelation to the Nairobian, speaking about how in 2011, after they had wedded and she came to live with the step grandmother, she started cohabiting with the grandfather, the step grandfather, and now there have been a tug of war, which even resulted to them divorcing, so that the old man can satisfy himself and have fun with this 27-year-old. A very, very sad story. And she speaks about the secret relationship which came to light in 2011, just 3 months after they had tied the knot, 3 months after they had done their wedding. And she realized that the man who has been living in Malindi, this granddaughter has been going to Malindi every weekend, every other weekend.
Anyway, let's not give out all the details. We want people to have a reason to read and buy a copy of the Nairobian. Before we move on to other international topics, though, Capital Feature, page 28. You alluded to this earlier, Eric. Are you a wannabe millionaire? And this article says the media is to blame for upgrading newbie comedians, shallow radio presenters, one-hit wonder rappers, and so-called socialites to the club of millionaires. They just do something small and all of a sudden they're the it thing.
I always say this, for a comedian or somebody on TV like Sophia and everybody else, your life is sin. You know, you're on billboards or on the newspaper or on TV in the morning. So if you're stupid, you think you buy into that. Yet a private citizen who's supposedly, say, a businessman might cut a deal upwards of 30, 40, 50 million, but nobody has his billboard anywhere. So because guys are feeding off your being on billboards, and they're like, oh my God, did you see what they did with Churchill? Or did you see what they did with Chipukizi? They gave him 5 million shillings. So people are spending your money even before you get it, okay? So if you buy into the idea of, oh, I'm big, I'm famous, blah, 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 then you go out with girls and spend your money, and oh, I need to drive a bigger car. Perception, again. So you're spending money on branding, you can't afford it, but you're like, oh, I have to live in Kileleshwa. I have to drive this, I have to dress on like this, I have to fly to Mombasa as often as can. Then before you know it, you hit a plank. So I think it's tragic.
Yeah, Ocean, do you think that the media is to blame for, you know, this pressure that is on especially young people? Because now we're being blamed here for putting them on the spotlight, and maybe there's this pressure to try and impress everybody and show them that, yes, I'm a celebrity and I can afford it.
I don't think the media is to blame. The media doesn't put anybody in a spotlight nowadays. People thrust themselves into the spotlight. People want to become famous, so they pull all these stunts so they can be on TV, in the tabloids, on the blogs, and make money. That's just how it is. People are not. People are money hungry, people are fame hungry, and the saddest part is with social media, you feel the need to impress everybody. Or like, I need to take a selfie, I'm with, you know, Solo over here is a billionaire. Or I'm hosting this thing at this club next week, come through, bottle service only. Hashtag, turn down for what, money ain't a thing. People have bought into that so much, they just have to try and accumulate so much more wealth just to show people that, yeah, I can still do this.
They can hack it.
And
So
it's very silly.
Yeah.